Alright, gods and goddesses in training, welcome back to another episode of Primal Sutra. I'm Uncle Makara, and today I'm going to be speaking about the Makara, how that energy has inspired me. So today I wanted to speak about the influence of the Makara's energy on me and what I first understood. So a little while ago, myself and Ryan G, we had our first event. It was in Bali, and I remember that we had a very profound moment where we met with this Makara energy, and I met with this Makara energy. Ryan G was connecting with Lord Varuna, and he felt this very fatherly type of energy associated with that deity. And I felt a similar energy with the Makara, and I felt like this was a weird, like, spiritual adoption thing that was happening, right? And we initially started to understand what these meant. So for me, what the Makara has taught me, or I call him Uncle Makara as well, which is funny that I took on that moniker, you know? Really, the main teaching is to be grounded as the bottom of the ocean. Now, this is very, very profound, because to be as grounded as the bottom of the ocean, you understand that there's an ocean of chaos around you, but you're still the ground of that ocean. You're still the foundation. So that gave me some understanding of the masculine energy, what it really was. There could be a tsunami happening on the surface, but I remain the bottom of the ocean. You see what I'm saying? So that gave me a very deep code into the divine masculine. So the Makara is usually known as the gatekeeper. It protects the temples, right? And the way I really thought about that knowledge is that I have some flow state knowledge and wisdom that I need to protect for myself. And that's why I was given that title of the gatekeeper by the Makara's energy itself. And I think it was a very, very powerful understanding, to me at least, because it made me understand boundaries. So the whole point of being as grounded as the bottom of the ocean was a response to one of my core wounds. And if you're unfamiliar with core wounds, this is a concept from bioenergetics. Okay, we have a character structure, and we usually have a trauma split that causes that character structure. So depending on if you're very overweight or very lanky and tall, you might have a different character structure, okay? Or maybe you're just very top half heavy, you know, it's all affected. So for me, a lot of my energy goes up to my head, right? And so when I'm in my head, I can't be in my flow. I can't access my true gifts. But when I'm grounded at the bottom of the ocean, guess what? I'm tapping into those innate qualities, those gifts, that instinctual drive that I have, you know, and that's gonna serve me a lot more in the moment, whatever it is, than being up here trying to logically figure it out. Of course, I do use my logic, but I also understand when to tap into that primal nature. And I think we all have a capacity to do this. It's just about setting the intention and working with an energy or a container like this. So the Makara's energy reminds me that I can access any of my chakra points at any time. It's really a sense of freedom, and the Makara also reminds me that I can travel anywhere. I'm a traveler, right? And so I can go intergalactic. I can, you know, surf into a different cosmic wave. As I'm having a conversation, I can take the conversation to these different worlds. And that's something that I've discovered through working with the Makara's teachings. So to be grounded at the bottom of the ocean healed my core wound of the schizoid archetype in bioenergetics, which was to go up into my head. Now, as I understood this, he also taught me many other things. He helps me a lot with combat as well, specifically combat sports. I haven't been practicing for a while because I've been very sick, but I'm gonna start shortly, maybe next week. The lesson that I kept having from the Makara's energy was similar to the way that a crocodile waits before attacking. It preserves its energy. It's in preservation mode, and then when it strikes, it really strikes, right? So as I'm striking in kickboxing, I was trying to use that lesson of preservation and knowing how to stand with my body, the way that I hold my body, the way that I bounce from foot to foot, right? And allocating where my energy moves, and then trying to get out of the head and into the punches, into the experience of it. Another thing that I've learned is simply leaping into the void. The Makara really believes in taking a lot of risks and believes risk is a flow state trigger. So he believes in commitment like 100%. So if you leap in, you go all the way into the void, right? So he doesn't believe in avoidance. He believes in avoid jump, okay? So he wants you to jump into the void, essentially, which means you have to commit yourself in order for you to really be lucky on this journey. He believes that if you commit, that's when the luck starts to happen. So he really told me to double down on devotion and like what I'm really passionate about, but also sounding out my truth and understanding that when I'm speaking, I'm also creating a cosmic connection. So as within, so without, right? So that same thing is happening on a grand scale. So he always reminds me that when I'm speaking, it's for a grand scale, it's for a grand purpose. So he really taught me what the siddhi or the siddha was. It's this full embodiment to spiritual realization. So the word siddhi comes from the Sanskrit word which means divine gift. So when the shadow gets transformed into light, you enter something called a siddhic state. There are 64 siddhis and each has a pathway to divine realization. I think the siddhis are the fruition of realization itself. So he's really taught me how to take a concept that's overwhelmingly negative and make it positive, which helps me as a counselor, as a positive psychologist, helping in reframing and cognitive behavior therapy. But also it helps me mystically, right? Because I am able to merge past the polarities and work in the wiggle room of both states or two different states. He's a big proponent, just like Chief Deno is in initiation, so a big moment of intensity that can create massive change and massive ripples. So with the Makara's energy, I suddenly get this drive to be more aggressive, to go after what I want, to be more assertive, but remain pure and come back to my wholeness and silence. It's a real embodiment of that priest beast energy if you think about it, right? Because you are regenerating like a super saiyan, you're charging up those powers, which you need a lot of spiritual focus, discipline in order to do that. And then you're using that Kamehameha or that blast to create and crush and dominate the path in front of you, right? And I think that this is a very, very powerful archetype because it also helps the gods move from one place to another, right? So if you think about that, it's like Ma Ganga used the Makara as the Uber of the spiritual world almost, right? Like think about that and how that impacts your life. So let's say that you are a god, you want to move to a different location, the Makara can help you do that. You just have to set up the right relationship, the right container to be able to do things like this. So understand that the power of death actually gives you a pressure to find your life purpose. The mind doesn't like surprises, so it bypasses the idea or understanding that we might die one day, right? However, if we truly looked at it, every moment is unexpected. Anything can happen at any time. And that can either be terrifying or complete liberation and this wonder and this adventure. The deeper you go into your own fears, the more you will sense the authenticity of others. And this is another thing that I've learned from the Makara's energy, is to embrace my authenticity, to not constantly be this kind of conformist, right? Just going with whatever the world is telling me. Challenge the norm, go against the grain, and find your own purity, your own temple of light that you protect, that you caress, that you take care of, okay? There's a form of lovemaking called carezza. It comes from the word caress, if you think about it. When you really love something, You caress it. You're curious about it. You want to embrace it. Okay? You don't want to push it away. So start facing your fears with this energy today, and I hope this gives you some epiphanies, some downloads. Hopefully you join our Adepts program where you can personally work with Uncle M, as we call him. And he sounds kind of like Sean Connery when I channel him, so it's quite funny. I hope you guys have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's get it today. Upward Spiral Gang.